Hi, this is Bill Prater, and welcome to the Business Builder Show, where we feature champions in their respective industries from all over the planet. Our mission is to provide you with timely, provocative, and actionable resources that will inspire, promote, and accelerate your quest for business excellence. Talking about that, we're going to talk today about lead generation systems that lead to six-figure sales. And Krystal Vernee is going to talk us through exactly how to do that. Now, who's Krystal? She's a serial womanpreneur, author, speaker, business coach, and brand strategist. She's the CEO of a company called Simply She and has over 20 years experience in the entrepreneurship space. She's always been passionate about empowering women and providing the support they need to transform their passion into profits. She teaches entrepreneurs how to monetize their expertise and create multiple streams of income so they can build a profitable and, most importantly, sustainable business. Krystal, great to have you here. You're lighting up the screen. Those of you who are listening on audio alone cannot see what I see. It's so great to have you here. Krystal, tell us, who do you serve?
Who do I serve? I think first and foremost, humanity. That is part of my purpose. And I truly believe why I was put on this earth is to help lead people to greatness, discover the light within themselves. But to narrow that down a little bit, I specifically focus on or serve online service-based businesses. So your coaches, your consultants, your online service providers, those entrepreneurs that have not quite reached consistency in income. So they haven't reached that 10K month consistently and need a little bit of help to get there. But I also work with brick and mortar business owners, so your small business owners, because I have that expertise as well, and helping them to decrease their overhead, increase their profits. And then I also feel that I'm a servant leader. I serve my employees, my staff, and volunteers, and all those who come into contact with me.
That's excellent. So, zeroing in on your core avatar or your core persona, your key client, what problems do they have, Krystal, that you're able to solve?
I would say the number one problem that most entrepreneurs face, or my clients face, is they don't have a consistent lead generation system. Over 70% of entrepreneurs do not have a lead generation strategy, and or they don't know where to start. And that is really one of the foundational pieces of a business. You have to have new eyes on your business and your brand consistently, in addition to serving the clients that you do have. And there needs to be balance there. A lot of times, entrepreneurs, they focus on lead generation for a few months and they do that really good. And then they get the clients and then they let the lead generation piece go. And that's what creates feast and famine in your business. And I really like to help my clients combat feast and famine and focus on sustainability.
I love your selection of words. So, Krystal, maybe you can think of a client that you've been able to solve their problems for, maybe a case study. So, if you could walk us through, how does that client find you? How do you figure out what their issue is? And then what's your process that you go through to help them solve this problem of lead generation?
Yeah, so the majority of my clients now come through speaking on a stage. I met this person at a conference and they had zero list. They just knew what they wanted to do in the sense. So they were a coach, a relationship coach, and they were having trouble narrowing in on who they really wanted to serve and also what to offer. And so what we did was we worked together to reverse engineer their lead generation systems from their offers. So I take what your main offering is, or your primary product or your hero product. What are you ultimately trying to lead people to? Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. So if we begin with the end in mind, we know what we're leading people to. If we don't know what we're leading people to, you're going to have trouble leading people to anything. So we sat down, we figured out what her offer was going to be, which was going to be a coaching program, a high ticket coaching program. And then we came up with several lead magnet options that we felt that her audience would gravitate towards. And of course, nothing goes without testing. Marketing is a science, and I'm an engineer, and so that is the part that I love to do with my clients. And we work together to test the messaging that would attract her ideal clients, and we put some lead magnets in rotation to help her get people on her calendar, and then eventually get her first high ticket client.
Excellent. That's a beautiful story. And you already said, I think 70% of entrepreneurs suffer the problem you just solved. So that's great. Krystal, you and I know, our listeners don't exactly know that where you are is in a very filled market with lots of competitors. So tell us how you're different from the competitors, how you end up winning the business, they end up being in your dust.
I love how you put it that way. So I think one of the major differences is that I've actually been a successful business owner before I became a coach. And I can say that a lot of my competitors cannot say that. Their first business was a coaching business. My first business was actually a vintage and designer handbag store when I was 16. So I've been in the entrepreneurial game since I was 16. So I have over 20 years of experience. I'm not that old, but aging with grace, I like to say. But I made $16,000 my first month. And unfortunately for me, my mother did not think the internet was going to be a place where you made money. And so I had to go right off to college and get my engineering degree. But I still had in the back of my mind that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And here we are today. But I know that most of my competitors can't say that they really have run a successful business before they actually start coaching people. So the things that I'm telling you to do, I have done myself. And that's definitely one of the things that I hold dear, even when I'm working with my staff. I'm not going to ask you to do something that I've never done or won't do myself. And so, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk, as they say. I also still do test my messaging. I also still do try different strategies from time to time because the marketplace evolves and things stop working. And so, always wanting to be at the top of my game and encouraging my clients to do the same thing. And I also think I'm an engineer. So, that also sets me apart in that my brain works just a little bit differently than most of my competitors. So I think I have a nice balance between creativity and logic, and I bring that to the table when I work with my clients as being able to say, I can see your process from beginning to end. So that's how I deliver a solution from soup to nuts. I don't just give you a piece of a solution because you're always going to be searching for that other piece and they're not going to quite fit together. Most people when they come to me, they had someone do their lead magnet, then they had someone else build their funnel, they had someone else write their copy. And so what you have is just all these different puzzle pieces from different boxes that you're trying to fit together and you're wondering why nothing is working. And so, what I like to do for my clients is be their solutions architect and build the thing from beginning to end.
Indeed. Thanks for that. And so here you got, you've got a purse designer, engineer, consultant. That's quite a combo, Krystal. So let's talk about your own business. So tell us how the kind of the journey or the story of your business. What were the major milestones? Maybe you could say something like, here's when I started my business and here's why. And here's a couple of successes and here's a couple of failures and here's what I learned along the way.
Yeah. So, I don't think I've even mentioned the business that actually is my longest running and I've started with. So, Simply She's my coaching business. My longest running business is Divas and Dolls Fitness. That's still in operation today. We're over 10 years old. It's a pole and sensual dance studio. Yes, you heard that right. Pole dancing. So there's that creative side. I think aerial arts. So think Circus Soleil. We do that too. And I started my business because it was more so of a weight loss journey when I first got started. And I think I was still looking for that thing, what I was really going to do, what was going to be my gift to the world. And I started Divas and Dolls because of the way not only that it made me feel, but the way that I saw other women being transformed. And not necessarily so much through dance, but more so in confidence and what they were able to do because of what they accomplished uh, by learning from me. And that's why some lows was I didn't know what the heck I was doing. with a, with a brick and mortar business. I tried all types of models. So I was like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, like trying to do personal training inside the studio. And really, the model for group exercise, there's a specific model. And even more to that, boutique fitness is even more niche and different. So it was really finding the right set of coaches and the right mentors and programs to be able to get the resources that I need and implementing that to get to a multi six figure business and then be able to leave my corporate job that I was working during the day and running my studio in the evening. And the skills that I learned there were also instrumental in helping me to build my business in terms of hiring employees. So going from me to then I think myself and two instructors to myself and 22 staff. After after 5 years, I started three more businesses because the entrepreneurship thing is most definitely for me, and that's where the multiple income stream journey came in. I became a little bit obsessed with having a diverse portfolio of businesses and not just a business, and studying different entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires, and how they viewed business and how they built their business portfolio is very interesting to me. So I continue to learn from them today, and that's where I am in my journey is continuing to build up my business portfolio, focusing on multiple streams of income, but not just income streams, not just active income streams, but passive income streams, which is what I teach my clients. We want to set up as many passive income streams as we could possibly do so that we can live comfortably and not have to be in that hustle mode, that grind mode. So that's where I am. And that's what I'm very passionate about passing along to my clients as well.
So tell us, if your career ages enough, and I'm sure you are, what was your big failure going through all these journeys, and what were the lessons you learned from that failure?
Oh gosh, I've had so many. If I have to be honest, but I think one of the biggest failure, I can't even say failure, I would say lesson. There's no failures, there's just lessons you learn from the things that maybe didn't go as planned. But I think really, when I think about it, is not believing in me was uh, was definitely one of the things that when I look back, I'm like, some of the things I didn't do because I didn't believe in myself. And other people also, and it's hard when your family and your friends don't believe, and they're the ones that are in your ear all the time about what you do is stupid. They don't get it. And you think that because they love you, they're supposed to be in the entrepreneurial crazy or like in that same mindset as you, when really what you need to do is surround yourself with like minded people. And that's something that I discovered late in the game, I would say. I think 5, 6, 7 years in was when I really was intentional about being in certain rooms and meeting certain people and networking. And I wish I had done that in the beginning. So that's always one thing that when I see a new entrepreneur, I always tell them you're in the right place and continue to seek out the spaces where you're not the smartest person in the room, because that's the only way that you're going to grow.
Beautiful. Thanks for that great answer and candor. So, keeping along this candor train, what's holding you and your businesses back right now, Krystal?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think right now the stage that I'm in is, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a growth where I'm in a growth state in several of my businesses right now. And I think what I need is the right support person, whether that's an operations manager or an assistant. That's what I'm really trying to figure out. I'm in that place where it's okay, I've been here before and I hired, but now it's a different level. It's you needed an assistant. Now you think you might need a director of operations, and that's a different hire. And so I'm taking my time with that and making sure that I get the right person, because that person will be instrumental in all that I do moving forward. And so I don't want to say it's holding me back, but it's been difficult to try and make sure that I get that next hire right.
Great. Get the next hire right. Krystal, what's the best way for our listeners to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I am on all the socials. You can catch me on Instagram at I_simply_she, LinkedIn at Krystal Vernee, and Facebook at I Simply She. You can also visit my website at www.isimplyShe.com. And if you want some of my resources, you can visit slayhardeveryday.co, which is what the she stands for in Simply She, by the way.
Oh, nice. Okay, that was good. Thanks for revealing that little tidbit. I imagine that after I've asked you 6, 7 questions, 8 actually so far, what is the one question that maybe I should have thought of, Krystal? I didn't think of it. So what's that question? And then what's the answer to the question I didn't think of asking you?
That's a good question. Yeah, maybe a good question is which I think is an important question. Should you start out trying to build a multi-enterprise business from the beginning? Because I get asked that because people see that I do so many different things, and so they were like, "Should I start with this and this?" No. The answer is no. And the reason why that is because you need to be able to run in one direction. And the only way to be able to run in one direction, the fastest you can possibly run to get your business off the ground, is to go in one direction. So I always tell people I didn't have the 4 businesses that I have overnight. I had to build one to multi 6 figures and get staff in there before I could even think about doing something else that would allow me to even have the space, the mental capacity, let alone to think about another type of business venture. So if you think about your businesses or enterprises, if you start with more than one, it's like pulling your body in multiple directions. And that's not a fun thing to feel. But if you go in one direction, then you're going with with gravity or with the current or however you want to say it, and you're able to move in one direction a lot faster. I know we see our favorite people, the people we look up to, like the Tony Robinses, the Les Browns, Dr. Cheryl Wood. We see these people that Brendon Burchard, Shalane Johnson, they have all these different enterprises, and you're like, I'm gonna do that. So, that is that's 20 years later. You're on year one. Your year one is going to look different than your year 20. So when you get there, you'll be amazed at what you've accomplished, but you're not going to get there if you're not moving in one direction.
That's a great question. Great answer. Thanks, Krystal.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for all your time and energy today as well. So everybody, now in closing, let's focus on the single fact that businesses do not become extraordinary in a single instant. Instead, they get there as a result of the owner first creating a vision for the future. Number 2, having a management system to execute on that vision. And number 3, leveraging high performance teams. And they don't have to be employees, they can be outside sources like Krystal right here in front of you now. So you can get all kinds of resources by going to my YouTube channel, which is Business Mastery Pro. Go there, enjoy yourself. Thanks for listening, Krystal. Thanks for spending your time with us today.
Thank you.